provide for the poor.
What you won't do,
I'm giving out game, investing in change.
you tried everything, but you won't give up. Hey guys, Hood Politics for Eyeballs. And on the ending of Cinco de Kendrick, which is what weekend just happened, after we finally saw a dead body and K-Dot essentially killed an owl, a Canadian owl no less. It's time to actually switch gears to something that actually matters, because the owl will be fine. Listen, this is the way Black Twitter works. This is the way black culture works. We'll roast you for a while. It's fine. If you know how to take a joke, take your L, come back stronger, you'll be fine. Okay? You just can't pout and just, it is what it is. Worry when we ignore you. Kind of like Kanye's diss in this. Nobody like, Unc, I need you to go sit down somewhere. This ain't your fight, Unc. Go on, sit down somewhere. So where people like Kanye and maybe the baby, where they went wrong is they try to defend themselves. Just let everybody get their jokes in and come back later. Anyway, we need to switch to something that actually matters, which is how the parts for which our bathing suits cover can often get us in trouble, which is what happened with our president. So, our former president. So, the hush money trial started. Now, why I felt like this was so important to make an actual episode is a couple reasons. First of all, because no former president has ever faced a criminal trial, which is crazy. It's not like no former president has ever committed a crime, but none of them have ever faced a trial, which is wild. And since this is a federal criminal trial, no, this one's a state one. Since this is a criminal trial, you now have to have a jury. How do you get an unbiased jury? Who don't have an opinion on Donald Trump? Like, and then one would wonder if you met a person in New York that don't have an opinion on Donald Trump, is that the person you really want on the jury? Because that person is completely checked out. So it begs the question about really what are we trying to do with our justice system? The concept is you are being judged by a jury of your peers. What that means is Americans judging Americans. It's not a thought from on high looking down. It's like basically like, look, even your homies know you tripping. Even your homies know you wilding out. That's why you found guilty. Or your homies are listening to you talk who are doing their best. Homies as in fellow citizens. That's what I mean by homies. Are going, I don't think you've proved it. Like, I'm listening to what they saying and I think, nah, I think my boy is cool. That's the point of a jury. It's to hear the opinions and thoughts of people who are supposed to be your equals, fellow citizens just like you, put their pants on one leg at a time just like you, unless you one of them cool ones that slide your pants up together like that. Either way, that's the concept. But you have somebody that moves like Donald Trump do, which is, I'm going to scare the jury. Most people are like, I don't want no parts of that. Most people become J. Cole and be like, this is lame. I don't need to be a part of this. Y'all can have it. Right? And no shade to J. Cole, because he clearly made the right decision. Anyway, what we're talking about is who among us has not made a foolish decision because our lower parts had more of a blood flow than our upper parts. We let the things that cover our bathing suit cloud the judgment of the matter between our ears. which is not what Trump is on trial for, because it's not illegal to have an affair. It's not illegal to hide it. It's not illegal to lie about it. None of that's illegal. What we need to understand is, what exactly did he do that was illegal? And for that to happen, the prosecution has to tie a couple things together to turn this into a felony. And how you do that is you have to show a pattern, you have to show collusion, and you have to form a organized, planned out event to hide an actual crime, right? So even, again, we'll get into the specifics, but even lying on your business documents, it's not a felony. Like, it's just, you pay a fine, you're gonna have to pay it back, but it's not a felony, right? But the 36 counts of election fraud, which is what this charge is for, is the 36 falsified documents, one for each document. How you gonna make that work? Well, you have to bring in the crew, and the crew is a person who couldn't be named better, David Pecker, right? You have to bring in Michael Cohen, the lawyer, and Donald Trump, right? And you have to establish that they were running a play, and the play was to sway the election. You have to prove that. Now, how do you do that? You have to go back in time and say, well, what was the play? Well, the play was you use National Enquirer, who was ran by David Pecker, right? And they did this thing that was called journalism by checkbook, which is fraudulent as all get out. It's real slimy. What that basically means is you're not doing actual journalism, you're paying for stories, right? So you pay the person to be able to tell their stories, right? And if you're Trump, who owns a magazine, and you're running for office, what are you going to do? You're going to run stories that make you look good and run stories that make your opponent look bad. Duh. Why would you not do that? Right? Because that's called campaigning. I don't understand. If you're the defense, you're like, I don't see what's the problem. I don't see what it is. Now, as you start making the claim as far as the prosecution, you say, no, they had a plan. The plan is what y'all have heard on the news a million times: catch a kill, right? You get it. You find a person who's got a story, and the first person they talked about was one of the doormen who said he heard that this person had got a love child with Trump. Trump like, yo, buy the story and then don't run it. And then it turned out the story was false, so we didn't have to worry about it. The next one was this lady named McDougal, who said she been had an affair with Trump. He'd run the same play. Buy the story, don't put it out, pay her off, it's good, right? So you got to pay for these things. And then finally, Stormy Daniels, the one we all know. She like, yo, this man finna be president, I'm finna tell this story. National Enquirer is like, listen, I don't feel comfortable paying for this one. Number one, because you ain't paid us back for the last two. Because the National Enquirer, like, we doing this for you. We're paying these people off because you don't want the story out, so you should pay for it. Why should we have to pay for it? We done fronted the money for the other two. Trump like, I'll get your money. It's according to the defense. They like, look, we not doing it. So Michael Cohen goes, all right, I'll pay him out of my pocket. And then Trump, you pay me back, right? Trump say, yeah, no, that's perfect. I'll pay you back, and then I'll just put it in the documents that it's a lawyer's expense. It's a business expense, right? It's fine, right? So I'll just pay you back for that. So they do it. Story gets quashed. Story comes out anyway. She got her money. He pissed off, right? Trump pays back off Michael Cohen for squashing the story. Now, if you're the defense, you're like, tell me again where the crime is. Am I trying to sway the election? Isn't that campaigning? And falsified documents, he's my lawyer. So I paid for a lawyer fee. If you're the defense, or if you're the prosecution, you're like, bro, do you hear yourself right now? That's not campaigning. The defense goes, listen, you married, dude? You got a girl? You got a BM? You want her to find out? You want your kids to find out you out here smashing somebody like that? In a newspaper, no less? What you won't do? Do for love. To which the prosecution goes, well, not that. And clearly, that's not what you're doing. You're doing this so that you can become president. Because remember, the Access Hollywood tape just dropped. So if this comes out, oh, you cooked, homie. So you were doing this. This was a plan. You are interrupting journalism. You are interrupting stories, using your power and money as a squad of people. So even you falsifying this document is for the purpose of tampering with this election. That's the prosecution. Now, what's crazy about it is you got to convince 12 people, 12 New Yorkers that that's the case. That's the deal. When your defense can be, just like I've been saying before, like, well, I mean, you ain't never lied and covered something up. You ain't never judged up your resume. Why would I want this to come? That's absurd. Why would I want this to come out? And you taking this word from Cohen? This slime ball? So let me get this straight. Your witnesses are the head of the National Enquirer, a known perjurer named Michael Cohen, and a porn star. That's who y'all got to tell me that I done did something wrong? To which the prosecution is going, yeah, that's your squad. Those are your folks. Those are all your homies. What do you mean they your homies? And what we trying to say is, these the type of people you run with. These the type of people you run with. What are y'all missing? So you looking over at the jury and being like, that's his squad. My mama used to say, just like your mama used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. I used to hate it, but it's true. You are who you run with. But this is the first time in American history that we're in this place. And this is the first judge in all of these criminal trials that Trump is facing that understands that we got to move fast. We can't just be waiting on courts and such because the clock's ticking. I just think the funniest thing about this is this was at first thought of as the weakest of all the cases against Trump. But it turns out the one that's moving fastest and he might probably not get away with is the one of him just trying to get to the yams. Sweet yams. It gets us all in trouble, y'all. Hood politics.
Yeah, I'm granting you more. I ride for the poor. I stand with the few. I stand with the crew. I'm giving out game, investing in change. Y'all know the name. Microphone fiending, plastering graffiti, comb through my catalog to untangle your quarterlini. Meaning, them imposters trying to shock chakras. I'm fostering a fan base to spot a man.